for me, this is the most impressive ride of the year. This was crazy. I've been in his wheel, I've seen how many watts I was pushing and how strong he was riding, and this was just insane.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Odd Tandem. Today, our guest came from a cycling family, worked his way up from the juniors to an under-23 development program, and now into the world tour with the most dominant team in the world. He's had some changes in his life, including nationality and, of course, switching from one big team to another. But Jensi, how cool was it talking with Pavel Sivakov today?
It was a pleasure, and I had so many flashbacks from the good old days because I believe you too, Bobby. We both raced with his dad. He signed his first contract in '98 with the French team Big Mat Aubervilliers back then. So we probably raced many French Cup races and Tourmet and Étoile Bessèges with his dad. Shows us how old we are, but great chat with the son, and you can see he is one of the new generation.
And one thing that I wish I would have asked him that I forgot to during our interview was how many languages does he speak? Because his command of the English language was pretty impressive. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy our great conversation with Pavel Sivakov. Okay, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Odd Tandem. Pavel Sivakov, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you guys.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on and agreeing so quickly to come on because, you just got finished racing in China like in the middle of October. And here we are on Election Day in the United States, November 5th. What have you been up to since your last race of the 2024 season?
I went straight to our team building in Abu Dhabi, and then I stayed one more week in UAE with my girlfriend for some holidays, and I'm currently in Barcelona with my mom and sister, also spending some time with them here. So yeah, just enjoying my off season so far. So yeah, it's been great. Recovering from a long season, especially the second part has been quite busy for me. I had an injury in the beginning of the year, and yeah, then it's been quite let's say, as I say, quite busy with racing and training camps from I would say from May until October.
Hey, before we go deeper into this, we have a quick session of quickfire questions. 4 questions, short answer, please. Ready?
Yes.
Okay, what's better for you, French or Italian cuisine for you?
I have to say Italian is always better. I'm more of a fan of Italian cuisine.
What do you prefer, domestique deluxe or be the captain but have to deal with all the stress?
Oof, that's a tough one. I guess deep down always the aim is to be a captain, although I really like the domestique role. I think as much as I enjoy it, I think I like to win races, and that's the aim. So, I know how to when to be domestique. I really enjoy it. When I have a leader that is stronger than me, I always love this role. But when I have a chance, I always also love to be a leader.
What's better for you, the French champion jersey or the yellow jersey in Paris-Nice?
Oh, the French champion jersey is yeah. You have to you can wear it 1 year, and it's, I think, for me it's a beautiful jersey. It's something that would be really special to wear. I think especially if you were selected for the tour that year, I think that's something something special as a Frenchman.
And what would be your dream car, Renault Alpine or a Porsche?
A Porsche, definitely a Porsche. That's not even a question.
Thank you.
Wow. So I got to go back to what you said about finishing your last race and going straight to team building. Jens and I were on a team called CSC with Bjarne Riis and B.S. Christensen, and they kind of coined that term, team building. And we actually went out and did some pretty crazy things. I mean, we were on army bases, we were doing simulated fire drills, we were building bridges, we were shooting guns. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Cross country skiing, downhill skiing. What do you guys do at your team building at UAE Emirates?
Actually, we have like some riders that have quite a lot of meetings with the local sponsors there in UAE. Then we have like some activities also as a team. Actually, this year I kind of missed the main activity. I got sick the last day, and the guys went for like karting races, and I missed that part. But yeah, I think it's nothing as crazy as you just described. I think that's it's like proper team building, like going for like kind of army stuff. Actually, I heard about these stories you just said, and that sounds like a lot of fun. I think ours is more basic, also in the evening with the guys we go for some drinks in the bar, and just enjoying some time together, because actually, as you guys know, like we see each other now in October and then in December for the training camp, but then in the season, like there is some guys I didn't even see this year, and it's been almost a year that I didn't see them. So it's always nice to be all together and to build this group. And I think in UAE we really do have a really nice group of guys, and it's always enjoyable to spend this time with my teammates.
So this camp was more about getting each other to know, integrate the new riders into the team, and maybe looking ahead to the next season, or you already did some training, or was it more pleasure, leisure, and just talking a little bit?
Yeah, it was more like you said, it was more about getting to know each other, getting the new riders into the group, doing some like activities to get to know each other, although most of the guys already know each other. And we didn't train at all. We did like one ride, two rides actually with there for the local club, also celebrating the best team of the year. So we didn't train at all. Everyone just finished the season. Some guys are deep in the off season. Actually, some of them also restarted training. I just finished my season, how it goes. And no, it was no training at all. It was just a get together, really.
Well, talking about the 2024 season, you and your UAE Emirates teammates pretty much dominated. 81 wins, 54 second places, 48 third places. I hope you guys celebrated. I know that's kind of a faux pas in cycling these days because everyone's watching their weight and whatnot. But I mean, that was such a dominating performance. What do you think you guys can do in next year to be as successful or even more so? Because I don't think I've ever seen a team with that many, not only that many wins, but that many podiums on top of that.
Yeah, definitely. We did celebrate that in Abu Dhabi though. So no, it was an amazing season for the team, that's for sure. I mean, we also had a lot of different riders winning. That's also something that's quite crazy about our season. I think it must be like around 20 different riders having won a race this year. Plus like everything, several guys winning a lot as well. I think it's going to be hard to do better than this, really, in terms of numbers of wins, but also the victories we got, especially with Tadej, in the team. I mean, it's hard to ask for better. Probably the only better things we could have done is maybe win the 3 Grand Tours or something crazy like this. But even then, I think we can only be happy about our season and try to do better, of course, next year. But even then, I think just keep this dynamic. I think that's the main thing. the dynamic of winning. You know, there is a real winning culture in the team. When I joined the team, I felt this, you know, and everyone really strives to win, and I think that's why we win so much. It's just this will to win from everyone, and that just drives everyone also to do the same. But at the same time, you know, working very well together. But you know, when we have an opportunity, we always go for it, and I think that's why it was such a successful season, and the team is so successful as well.
I'm glad you mentioned that so many different riders of your team won it, because that's something I always love about teams, when they have a variety of riders winning. And I would have asked you about it, but you mentioned it. So yeah, that's a really good point for any team, because it shows, you know, that the team works together and they are all willing to take and give. What result, after all these fantastic wins the team had, what result you are personally most proud of?
For me, I guess my top 10 in the world was good. I wouldn't say I have like one result that stands out this season. I think it's more the progression I had during the season. I think I finished really well. Like I've beaten a lot of my like even records. What records in the Vuelta and afterwards also in Lombardia. I guess the race I would remember the most would be maybe Lombardia this year. I was feeling really good there. And Tadej won, smashed the race as he usually does. But behind it, you know, I still had the legs to fight for podium, and I think I did have the legs to be on the podium that day. You know, tactically maybe I mismanaged the final, but no, I think that's I would say one of my best races this year. But obviously, I really enjoy also the Vuelta and also the Tour de France. You know, winning is the first time I win the Tour as a teammate, and this was such an amazing experience. Also, the Tour is always something special, and we had an amazing group of riders there. You know, a good laugh every day, and I think we showed on the road, how we were as a group as well. And I think it's just. This year was a change for me. You know, I did 6 years with Sky and then Ineos, and it was about time to change. And I think this was like a bit of a fresh air, and it has done me good. I think I really enjoyed racing this year.
Well, we watched as fans, and in Jens's case, he commentated on most of the big races of the sport. So we're fans of the sport. You know, we did it ourselves, but we love watching it as well. There were some amazing rides this year. What, in your opinion, was the most impressive ride from any rider, you know, you being in the race or even watching it on TV?
Well, for me, actually, I've been really close to it. It was at the Worlds from Tadej. For me, this is the most impressive ride of the year. This was crazy. I've been in his wheel, you know, I've seen how many watts I was pushing and how strong he was riding, and this was just insane. I think that day, it just stands out. You know, also Lombardia, I was also there with him to really witness the performance. But for me, Worlds was something else. You know, it was like 100 Ks from the finish. Many really strong riders also chasing behind. It's something we've never seen, and I think we all witnessed like some of the history of cycling there. And for me, this was amazing. Something just crazy.
And how was it for you? How did it feel to race against Tadej, not with him, because you're in your national team, right? And you had some other French riders. They were looking good, or they tried to be the captain, or try to be in a top 10, top 5 position. And going into the race, did you know, if I can stick on Tadej's wheel, I finish guaranteed second? Was that an idea of yours?
Actually, yes, this was. I mean, when he joined I was in a counter, like in the front group at this point, and when he joined the group, I was like, okay, now I'm actually feeling pretty good today. I think I'm gonna try and stay with him as long as possible. You know, if I can stay with him, yeah, it's maybe I believed in the podium at one point, and yeah, then when he accelerates it, I managed to stay with him in this first part of the climb in a steep bit. Then he dropped me just over the top, and he looked back. He seen I've been just behind. He waited for me, and I think this was the point where he really killed me, because it was still quite around 5 minutes until the top. And I buried myself just to stay in the wheel. And actually, this course was really tough, because even after the climb, you don't really have a moment to recover. You're constantly pressing on. You maybe have 30 seconds, but 30 seconds, 1 minute. But when you already go so deep, it's almost impossible to recover. And even in the short downhill, it's almost not enough, because it's really fast. You have to keep the concentration. And yeah, I mean, I went so deep there to stay with him. And after that, I completely exploded, and race was over. But yeah, this is why for me it's just insane how good he was on that day. I mean, yeah, like I said, I've pushed great big watts in this climb, and he just managed to do it almost the same again on the next lap, and yeah, it was just crazy to witness.
That must have been an amazing feeling, knowing that you're witnessing something like that, experiencing it, feeling it. I mean, I had a beer in my hand, so I wasn't feeling anything when I was watching it. But when I saw you on the wheel, I was like, oh my God, that is the Hurt Locker. That is tough. But back in my day, I was never as a rider, I was never part of a Tour de France winning team, but it was quite customary where the winner would do something special for his teammates. Did Tadej do that for you guys? And if you could you share what that gift or that gesture was?
Yeah, he got us all a nice watch with our names on, and something to remember this moment. I think is always super nice, from a leader when you receive a nice gift, when you arrive home after training and there is a nice gift for you there. It's always special, but yeah, for me it's also remembering, all this journey we had during the tour. This is super nice, all these 3 weeks, and like a little gift like this, when you wear the watch or you just see it, you just remember straight away these moments that we all go through. And yeah, it's always nice, when the leader really appreciates your work, and you just want to do it again, really. I think as long as I can be part of the Tour de France squad, for me it's always an honor and a pleasure to do it. As we were talking in the beginning, you asked me about domestic or leader. I mean, I like to be a leader, but when you know that you have a leader that is stronger than you have to accept it and embrace, the domestic role. And it's something also I really enjoy doing, especially on the tour with the crowds. Also being a Frenchman for me is a special race. I just loved it this year. It was amazing.
And your team is quite loaded with really strong and talented riders, right? Well, it's a double question. How do you feel in there? Does it keep you on your tippy toes? Does it make you work harder to earn your place in this group of very strong, talented riders? And second part of the question, how early did you know you're in the Tour de France team, in a long team, or you're for sure in the team? Because, they cannot call you up 2 weeks ago and go, hey, in 10 days you're going to go to the Tour, right? It's a process to work towards that goal. So how do you feel in a team of superstars? And since when did you know you're going to be in the Tour de France team?
I feel good I've always been in a team where we had plenty of really talented riders. I've been really lucky with this from my beginnings, and for me that's what that drives you. You have talented guys around you, and you can never really relax. You always have to work hard. I feel like the team trusts me, but also you have to earn this spot. You have to show them that you're, you earn this trust, and it's just something nice. Also the motivation that it gives you, because you have like a bunch of really motivated guys around you. Like I said about this winning culture, that's what's really good about having superstars around you, because everyone is really driven, everyone is really professional and works hard, and it just creates this culture. And that's what I saw, with Sky, when Sky was, I joined the team when Sky was, let's say, the team number one, and it was this, a bunch of, it's just this momentum that it gives, when you have many riders winning. And we maybe, in the past couple of years, it wasn't the case in this team, but now I join UAE, and once again I'm part again of a team which has this momentum of winning. And for me it's just nice to be there. Of course, it's not always easy. I could have chosen, let's say, not to be harsh, but a smaller team when I would have more of a leadership role. But I don't know. I really enjoy being around really strong riders. You also, even if I'm not the youngest rider anymore, you always learn from them, and you always, from all the riders, and for me it's super nice. And for the second question, actually, we knew quite early that the Tour de France team was already done, I think, last December. So in December camp we speak about the race program, and from there, except any issues, like the main core of the team is already done. And actually we knew all the 8 riders already in December, so I think this is something really nice for me. Also, I felt like the team really trusted me, and it was something really good, and I could just work towards this goal, without too much pressure. And this was great, actually. I think it's a good way to do it.
Yeah, that's a plan your work and work your plan sort of thing. If you can tell the 8 guys that are doing the Tour de France that they're doing the Tour de France in December, and actually stick to that, no doubt. But
I think the issue, as is maybe someone gets sick or crashes out. But we've been lucky last year that all the 8 guys were healthy and ready to go for the Tour. So I think it's super good, no?
But you kind of touched on the reasons why you transitioned, or from one of the biggest teams in the past to the biggest team of the present. But change is a primal fear for a lot of people. We kind of do our thing. We get used to a certain thing. We're there for, at a team like you were at Sky and Ineos for 6 years. And then you're switching everything. You're switching bikes, you're switching clothing, you're switching nutritional products, you're switching coaching staff and support staff. How did you make that transition so easily? Because it's kind of hard, and it doesn't work 100% of the time when you make a switch, and then all of a sudden you're trusted with a Tour de France spot.
Yeah, no, I think I was at the end of a cycle personally, and I think it was about time to change. And actually, it's been quite easy to transition teams, I have to say. Like you say, with the bike, actually, maybe the injury, I had was like, this little, when you change bike, it's always hard to find the perfect position. And, I got like a niggle under my knee, and then it developed in like a tendon that got inflamed. But apart from this, when you settle everything, the clothing, at the end you adapt quickly. Also the nutrition brand. The top teams now, everyone is using good products, and I think it's quite easy. Also to adapt to the group for me was really really easy. Actually, I think people shouldn't be scared of a change sometimes. When you feel like I said, you're at the end of a cycle, or feel like maybe change would be good. I think it's only beneficial to have a fresh air. You start from not from scratch, but you start something new. You have new coaching, new teammates, new staff around you, and just to have this, you know, is like, it's like a new chapter in your career. And I think, yeah, people shouldn't be scared of that. Of course, you know, I also don't think it's good to change too often. I like also some stability. I think it's nice to, you know, to stay with this group, because when you change too often is maybe that then the opposite way, you know, it may be unstable and you don't really know. But I really like also the stability that creates. I really enjoy my 6th year with Ineos. You know, at the end, a cycling team is also sometimes like a family, like your second family. You spend more time with your cycling team than your family, and yeah, you know, it's been great. And now, yeah, I'm really enjoying my time with UAE, and yeah, I still have 2 years in my contract, and who knows, for the moment, you know, I enjoy these years, and let's see what the future brings. I'm really excited already to start 2025. I don't know, I haven't spoken yet about my race program or anything. You know, I'm in my off season, so I'm kind of switching off, but already, you know, excited to start again, to build the winter and to go again. So no, I mean, the change is good from time to time, I think.
Talking changes, your life, there has been like some changes for our viewers and listeners. Maybe you give them a quick story about your life. You're born in Italy. About at the age of 1, you moved to France. Then you had a French and Russian citizenship. You raced under a Russian license. In, I believe, 22, you changed to a French license only. No, now you're racing with a French national team. How did all that come along? I believe some of it is part to your parents. Your dad was a cyclist as well, right? And by the way, please say hi to Alexei. We raced together. I think we both started in France in 98. Me with Gan Crédit and he started with Big Mat Aubervilliers. So we raced many French Cup races together. Say hi to him when you see him the next time. But yeah, so how did all that come along in your relatively young life?
Yeah, it's like you say, both my parents are Russian. They were both professional cyclists, and yeah, my dad started with in '97 with Rose Lotto, and that's why I'm born in Italy. He had a contract there, and then he signed with Big Mat, and that's when we moved to France. And I lived in France. I grew up in France from 1 until 2019, when I moved to Andorra. So yeah, because of my parents, I had only the Russian passport until I was 18, where I could apply to get the French citizenship. But by this time, I was already racing with the Russian national team. And yeah, then I didn't change straight away when I turned pro, because I wanted to do the Olympic Games in Tokyo, and it would have been 2-year wait, and without doing it, without doing any major competitions. So yeah, basically, also then the war happened, and in Ukraine. So for me, it was also something a bit complicated, and this actually made it easier for me to make the transition, and I got the change in like a week or like few days, and I had the French sporting nationality, although I had the French nationality already. So yeah, maybe also, like, speaking of changes, maybe that's why I also have an ability to change, because I grew up, in kind of a mix of cultures, and it's always been easy to transition. Not easy, but in my head it's kind of easy to transition from one language to another, and I think it also makes, probably also in life, something that makes it easier to maybe even understand new cultures, and I've also been really lucky to encounter a lot of different cultures throughout my career, in different teams, like the British culture with Ineos, also different riders, and I think that's why maybe doing changes at the end of the day is something I get really accustomed to very quickly, and I really enjoy it.
Well, you've managed that pretty darn well, I must say. But with both of your parents being cyclists, and heck, you were born during the Tour de France. So you're going to be celebrating your birthday during the Tour de France until you retire, right? So cycling seems to have been kind of destined for you. But what got you into cycling in the first place? Was it just trying to hang out with your dad, or was it always just a burning passion, desire, destiny inside of you?
I didn't cycle like straight away. I've done a lot of different sports when I was younger. I started with judo, then I did some football or soccer, as you call it in the US, and then some tennis, basketball, handball, a lot of different stuff. But cycling was always around me at home. It was always there, always present. I never like got a license or raced straight away, but then I tried cycling and I could feel like, it was the sport I was good at, and I got a license to start racing, and I was pretty good quite quickly. And yeah, I mean, it was just there at home. It was really hard to avoid. My sister managed to avoid it. I think it was too much for her, but yeah, it was always probably also a dream of mine, inside. And yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, having it at home, it was kind of obvious, I would say.
So, with your parents both being cyclists, are they still super nervous and afraid for you when you leave for a grand tour? I mean, they both must have had their own fair share of crashes, because we all know cycling is sometimes dangerous and it hurts like mad if you fall, right? If you crash. Is mom always still nervous for you, or she goes, Pavel, you're a big boy, you do whatever you do, or she still go, oh, please come home, my son? How is that? And if you're back home for a weekend, you all talk cycling only because you all cycling experts, or how is that gonna work?
Yeah, actually, of course, I think for parents, especially, they know they're obviously always nervous, and yeah, I think it's always hard, to there is some risk, but also some reward, and they understand that in a way, not only about the crashes, but also nervous about how I'm gonna race and all this stuff. And yeah, at home we speak a lot of cycling. Yeah, is the main topic. That's for sure. That's our stuff. But yeah, sometimes maybe too much, but we love it. I mean, that's the passion.
So how old were you when you decided to stop doing judo and these other sports and focus on cycling?
I think I started around 13. So it's not late, but it's not like, I know some guys, they started much earlier. And then, I started racing on the roads in the Pyrenees. That's where I started. And slowly made my steps there on the smaller races, and it was a good time.
Did you ever try some other cycling, like BMX, mountain biking, cyclocross, or on the track? Or you go, nah, it's road racing for me or nothing else?
I've tried a bit of track. I've done a bit of track, but there wasn't too many races in the Pyrenees. There is a couple of outdoor velodromes. One in Foix. This was the closest one to me. Also in Tarbes. And I went a couple times also with the regional team to Bordeaux to do some racing there. But mainly it was the road. And actually, I wish I did a bit more of other stuff. Obviously, I rode sometimes a mountain bike and all this kind of stuff, but it was mainly road. And I wish I've done more of like cyclocross, mountain bike, a lot of different stuff. I think for young cyclists, it's really important to really, for the skills, but also, for the fun. I think it's nice to do different disciplines. You learn a lot from each one of them. And you can see it actually on the road now. A lot of really good riders, they come through that and they still keep doing it, and like Tom, Mathieu and Wout, you see how good they are on the road, but also they bring in all these skills from different disciplines. Also a lot of track riders like Pipogana still doing it, But for me it was mainly road all my career.
I was cautious to bring this up, but I'm going to give it a shot. So your name popped up on my radar back in 2015. I got a call from the late great Nicholas Portal. He was working for Sky, and I was transitioning. I was at BMC, or he thought I was going to be at BMC for a while, and he spoke so highly of you. They didn't have a development team. BMC did have a development team. I'm just curious, what was your relationship with Nico? Because, like I said, he just had such a high opinion of you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Nico was, yeah, well, it was great. I think he was a special person. Everyone, yeah, knew it in the team. It was, was a big loss for everyone who knew him, and yeah, I mean, he's done a lot for me, obviously, in my career. I think, he was also a big part of why I was in Sky, obviously, and also even where I live now, actually in Andorra. He was living also in Andorra at the moment, and he told me, to come have a look. And actually, the apartment I bought and I'm staying in, he also showed it to me, so I had a special relationship with him, and it was, it was, I think, really, really sad what happened, and what can I say? Yeah, and it's been hard, I think, for everyone, but it's what it is, really.
And in your 6 years with Ineos Grenadiers or Team Sky at the start, what did you take away? What was good where you go, I will always keep doing this for the rest of my career? And what's different with your team now, with Team UAE, if there is a difference?
Well, that's a hard question, actually. I think it's really hard to choose one thing. I think it's just how in Sky, how professional is the approach to everything. I think that's something I learned a lot. Also, learned a lot from the riders. The work ethic they have is just amazing. And I think that's what I will always do. Really approach all the details like this. Actually, it's hard to choose something, one thing. And what's different in UAE? In a way, I think how to explain it is maybe, Ineos was like kind of a British team. Maybe you'll know what I mean, like more, like kind of Anglo-Saxon, or how you call, like this type of mentality. And UAE is maybe more like Spanish, Italian influenced team, and the difference is hard to explain, but I guess you guys know how it is. A bit of a different approach, maybe a little bit more laid back in UAE, and a bit more like on it in Ineos. And I think it suits, and also it suits, and it's good for a certain period. Like in Ineos, it was nice, but maybe I need also this change. A bit more laid back, being a bit maybe less control also. So I would say maybe that those are the difference, but it also learns you a lot of stuff. Doing. Really get interested about a lot of stuff in Ineos, and I think it's actually hard to really pick one thing. I think it's just a combination, and the stuff that I learned over the years, from the riders, observing, like, through Miji, Kiato also, I learned a lot from them, how they approach racing, training, and also life in general. And now I'm more of maybe grown, and I'm in UAE. maybe also with more experience is also good to be a bit more laid back, less control. I know what I'm doing. I've learned a lot already with Ineos and Sky. So yeah, that's it really.
Well, I'm going to have to pick your brain a little bit because, starting so young, having great results as a junior, moving on to, the under 23s, and now in your seventh year as a pro. A lot of guys that you raced with back in the junior years, under 22 years, there's some familiar names in that list, but there's also a lot of guys that didn't make it. Outside of just the pure physical talent that it takes to pedal a bike as fast as you can, what other life skills do you believe are important to ensure a successful career for some young riders just starting out?
Well, I think balance is probably, for me, the key. It's actually quite hard because I would say I also kind of struggle with this, when I was younger, to find this balance. Actually, I would say it's now where I've found this balance. I would say even this year, it's something I struggled, and it's something really complicated because now I would say I was also in a generation that was kind of transitional, from old cycling to new cycling. Now it's, I came to the pros, it was quite early. I think I was 20 or 19, I don't remember. But now it's coming even earlier, and I think you're really on it, on this intensity of being a professional from an early age. And it's harder to find this balance because maybe in your head you're not as mature, you don't think about all this. It's easy to do too much training. When you're in this bubble, you train, you sleep, you eat, everything is calculated. You can count your calories, you can count how many hours, you can count everything basically. And I think it's about finding this balance where you can kind of switch off from this, or you don't take this too seriously if something doesn't go your way. I think it's about this really. I think for me the key is finding your way more than trying to be someone else as well. Trying not to compare yourself to, it was also easy now to compare yourself with many young riders. When I was like, Tadej started to be really good, and I wasn't. I was kind of these years I wasn't performing as maybe the expectation were, and that's where also some young guys they will struggle, because you compare yourself to someone that do well, and you're not. You just try to find your way, your career, your path, and do it your way, and also keep believing. That's also I think the main thing. You have to believe in yourself, and it's just more or less this. I think that's how I would advise a young guy.
Even though after talking to older riders, younger riders over the years with our podcast, it feels like in this modern day and age, it is super hard to actually get into cycling if you not do everything to perfection. I believe back in our days, Bobby and me, you could still start a season with 2 kilos overweight and you would still survive. If you start Pyrenees with 2 kilos overweight this year, you'll be out of the time limit. So I believe cycling does become a little harder, and the more valuable are your words now that every now and then you have to put on the brake a little bit and find the balance, right? Or how long in a year, 12 months, how long can you keep the balance, or how long can you keep the focus on counting the calories, counting your watts, your kilos, your kilometers? Is it 10 months on, 2 months off?
I wouldn't count it like this really. I think for me is more I've accepted also is a way of life. It's not something that is kind of a pain in the ass to do. I'm like, okay, this is I don't even treat it like it's my job. I treat it like this is the life I've chosen to live. You know, this is okay. You know, it's not like that. It's just that I don't go extreme as I used to do before. You know, if I need to lose weight, I'm not gonna go and starve myself. I'm gonna do it more steadily, and then in the same time, I'm never gonna gain that much in the off season or like in the period where I have off, because I don't have these cravings. Or it is actually, yeah, it is a balance. When you go too much on one way, then it's like a bounce back effect, and I think that's how I would manage it more. You know, now in the off season, I don't, I allow myself what I want really, but I also, it's just I enjoy, you know, being healthy. I enjoy to sometimes, you know, have a drink or eat some like cheat meals or all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I think it's just living a healthy life. I like this, you know, and at the end of the day, is just, and was more than just a job. Is also a way of life, and I enjoy it. I enjoy, you know, going out for training, and I think that's also maybe the key for a longer career now. You know, if you are constantly stressed and worried about everything, and you take this to the extreme, that's when it's going to be hard for the longevity of your career, or even, you know. But I agree, now is a bit more extreme, like the racing from January. If you want to perform, you already have to be in really good shape. You already have to be lean. Maybe, like you say, 2 kilos is okay. It's a bit on the limit. You know, 1 kilo from your top shape from the start of the season, and you kind of have to keep working hard. But at the same time, I think you still have to keep a little bit of this last squeeze to be there. And it's what I also learned from other riders. You know, you can see riders that are really, you know, consistent throughout the season. They are actually really good at managing it this way. And I think, for me, one actually good example is Adam Yates. You know, he managed this really well. He's super professional, but at the same time, you know, he knows how to enjoy like a good glass of wine, and it's just like having this balance of both. And I think that's when you can keep it for the whole season. That from time to time you allow yourself something, and you don't go to these extremes, to trying to be too crazy. Of course, before a big goal like the Tour, like there, like 1 month in before this, you're really on it. You're on a mission. But then you can relax, and actually, it is about just staying, don't go too crazy.
Wow, Yenzi, he just said that you don't want to go 2 kilos over. 1 kilo over is enough. Crap, when we used to race, guys would come 6, 7, 10 kilos heavier sometimes, right?
Yep.
And talk about the extremes, and talk about not being able to find the balance. I think a lot of guys in our generation had that. But we're getting close to the end, but I have 2 questions that came to me from a local junior rider. They don't have to be the longest answers, but he was curious enough to, when I told him that you were coming on the podcast, he had 2 questions. So number 1 is, what is the biggest change in your training since when you started as a junior until now?
Well, actually, I think for the juniors now, it's less. I think they already train, like, you know, they have all the knowledge that we have. Sometimes even more. Sometimes you speak to the young guys and they know more than you. For me, I think it's just night and day. I didn't have a power meter then. I was training with heart rate. I knew nothing about what I know now about the nutrition. Also about the training. I was just riding, doing some efforts here and there, and it's just crazy. I think just all the knowledge we have now about the different zones, about which zones is good for what, and also fueling 190 grams an hour, and the ratio fructose glucose, all this kind is just yeah, it's actually also part of the job. No, start like studying all this stuff, and yeah, it's just it has progressed. Yeah, just a tremendous amount. So it's actually not. I think it's nice in a way also having all this progression, but I guess with modern cycling is also impossible. Yeah, it's. I don't see like if you're a junior, you already need to know all this and train like this if you want to perform. So yeah, it's just a different generation. I think. Yeah, you guys know it even better than me. So yeah, it's how the sports goes really.
Okay, so second part of the question, because you kind of touched on it, and your team has made this zone 2 training famous. So his next question was, do you look more at your wattage, your zone 2 wattage, or your zone 2 heart rate? And how important is it to stay in that zone 2 heart rate?
I look more at the wattage, but in combination with the heart rate, because sometimes maybe on some days you can see that your heart rate is too high or something, and you just have to back off a little bit. Maybe you're not on a good day, but yeah, mostly the wattage, but I think the heart rate is really important as well. You can also see if you're fatigued, if your heart rate is a bit suppressed. So I think it's a combination of both. We have a lot of metrics nowadays to measure this. I think to really know better if you are in the zone is to measure your lactate, but obviously you cannot do this like all the time and every day. So yeah, it's a combination of both really. I think you have to learn how to use both metrics, and I think they're both really important to look at, and it's just also to understand your own body, actually to know where also to when to back off, or when you're a bit maybe not too fresh, but when you're fresh, when the heart rate is high, then it's always a good sign, and when it's the opposite, then it's always a bad sign. So yeah, I think it's working with both is how I would say.
I would have as my last question a non-cycling question. Please tell us, our listeners and viewers, just a little secret or a habit or a hobby of yours. What do you do in your free time? Tell us like something nobody would know except of you us telling now. You go fishing, you go motorbike riding, or you like cooking, you reading books. What type of books? Something that nobody would know until today.
Well, I think there is not like a secret really. I don't have a secret hobby, but I really like cooking when I'm home, and I also really like coffee. But yeah, all my teammates know this. I always like with me, I always have like my kettle and my little coffee setup. I bring it everywhere on races or on holidays, and always look for different beans here and there, and try to buy some beans from different roasters around the world. So yeah, I quite enjoy this. This is one hobby of me, I would say.
That's cool and very common in the world of professional cycling, right? We like our food and we like our coffee. So you pick some pretty darn good hobbies there. Well, Pavel, thank you so much for coming on the Odd Tandem today. Really appreciate you spending a little bit of your off season. It doesn't sound like you're going to have one for very long when you're taking off to another camp here soon. But thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and your knowledge with us, our viewers, and our listeners.
No worries. My pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Hey folks, thanks a million for listening to our podcast, and thanks to Pavel for being our guest. And remember, there will be loads more great content popping up here on this channel. And please remember, don't forget to drop your questions, because imagine how cool is that? Olympic medalist Bobby Julik and little old Jensi answering your questions in our next mailbag episode. So please drop your questions on any social media channel, and check our description below for Patreon in order to support this channel like these great people.